Well, good morning, everybody. I felt like I was in a classroom then and expected everyone to say good morning back, but we won't go there. My name is Michael Cole. I'm the acting assistant principal at Ashwood School. I was invited by Susan to come along and talk about capturing authentic learning. And I thought to myself, well, how am I going to do this? I need to perhaps give you an overview of who we are and what we do, and I thought that might be the best way to start. Now, this is a fairly new thing for me. It's quite technical, but we'll see how we get there. So today's aim, I thought, for this workshop, what is authentic learning? And I'm going to use what's called the STAR. So the situation, what is authentic learning? The task, how do we capture and assess this? The action, what is happening to Ashwood School? And here, hopefully, I'll give you a few ideas of how you too can capture authentic learning. And then the end is obviously the result. So hopefully we'll share our teaching and learning practices around the room. And please feel free to ask any questions as we go along. We'll have a question and answer time at the end, but pop your hand up if you'd like to say something. So as I said before, I'd like to give you a little bit of background or a profile of who Ashwood School is and what we're about, and also the Second Transition Education Program. That is our Year 11 and 12 cohort. We only offer VCAL foundation level at our school, but a lot of our QA assessment tasks have been said to be, could easily be senior or intermediate without teacher support. So we're a P12 special school. We're established over 30 years ago. To be eligible for our school, you have to have been assessed with a mild intellectual disability. So that is an IQ of between 50 and 70. Our school comprises of 3 sub-schools: a primary school, a secondary school, and a senior school. The senior school is the Year 11 and 12 department, which is our STEP program. There's approximately 180 students at the school, and we gather our students from a fairly wide geographical area. The students in the photograph, they're our school captains this year. So I guess the main purpose of our Year 11 and 12, or the STEP educational structure, is we offer VCAL. We do this over a 2-year time frame. We offer vocational education and training courses, some at school, majority off school, utilising TAFEs and other secondary colleges. We offer the Certificate 1 in Transition Education, and of course our main primary focus is transition and pathways, and we work with Department of Human Services or Futures for Young Adults. So just before we go into what I sort of thought I'd pop up there for what is authentic learning, I'm just curious, how many teachers do we have in the room in terms from secondary colleges? And we've got some ACE providers. Terrific. Anyone from a special setting? Yeah. Community VCAL, fantastic, excellent. Oh, great. All right, so I guess authentic learning occurs when the students experience a need to know. And I was thinking about that in terms of myself. If I'm going to go on an overseas trip or go for a bit of a travel around and I want to plan that, I really need to know what I want to know. So how am I going to get there? I want to travel first class, but it's too expensive. But it really does occur when you need to know. It's a desire to find out the answers to the questions. And I guess that the students have come up with, or they also need to know how to do something. And I guess authentic learning also happens when students are given the opportunity to satisfy that need. So my next question was, well, how do we capture this at Ashwood School? And how do we do this so that I can relay this to you so that you might take away some ideas? So first of all, I thought, well, the students negotiate their own learning program through what we call an individual education plan. and of course a managed individual plan, which is your MIDS. You might know those also as the ACE providers might use an individual learning plan, ILP, I think that is it. Obviously we give the students an opportunity to participate in a safe learning environment where they can take risks, and we make sure that it's safe. The students are also guided and encouraged to record and assess their own learning, and we give them a lot of tools to do this, and a lot of visual tools because our students, their reading and writing capacity is limited. When I say, I guess in terms of encouraging them to record their own assessment, I feel I've been teaching, I was teaching VCAL for many years and still am, I guess, but I started out 10 years ago in the southern region, and we were the first special school in the southern region to offer VCAL. And what I felt at that time was this was a really terrific framework for us to use with these students, but it also allowed them to record their own assessment. And when they did that, it really engaged them. They knew what they wanted to get out of it. It was just amazing. So giving the students the opportunity to record and assess their own learning is just so powerful. This is just an example of an IEP, or an individual education plan. So for this to happen, at the beginning of the year, the students, their families, anybody else who is involved in that student or young person's education is invited to this IEP meeting. We also call it an SSG, a Student Support Group meeting, where they set their goals. We run through a framework of goals that we have from a data bank or from a course, but we also give the students the opportunity to talk about their intrapersonal learning. So it's not just your literacy or spelling improvement techniques or those sorts of things. It comes down to quite personal goal setting. So just with an IEP, you may have, for instance, we have a young student at the moment, a young person, who we have, he's got quite a few behavioural issues, and so we'll invite this team into that support group meeting to set the goals. Now obviously his literacy and numeracy is not, he would find that a challenge to read, so what we do is we put it into a more reader-friendly setting for him in terms of, I've done graphic organisers for him. So we have him in the centre, around in the circles, all the people who are at that support group meeting, they're all the people that are going to have an impact on his education, and he chose the people who are around. I did ask my principal to email that to me this morning, so if we've got time, I'd like to show you that at the end. Just an example of a managed individual pathway plan. This again, the students allows the students to negotiate their own learning and become part of that learning process and take ownership of their own pathways. So again, very important document that we use at Ashwood School. I also wanted to just give you a little snapshot, I suppose, of the broader programs that we run at school. And these programs, I guess, allow us and help us to capture and assess a wide range of learning outcomes for our students in the Year 11 and 12 cohort. Again, they're working under the 4 strands of the VCAL. They're also working under the Certificate 1 Transition Education module, so there's a framework. So these are sort of what we would call add-on programs that then allow us to tap into further enhance the learning outcomes. So the first one is what we call our simulated workstations, and this comes under the WRS. These workstations I'll go through a little more in detail because I think these are terrific and you might be able to take something back to your own settings. We have a terrific student leadership program at school. which includes house captains, school captains, student representative council, environment committee, and again, these are all applied learning situations where the students are doing. We have an urban adventure where the students they create their own learning through developing assessment tasks. Hang on, let me just get that one straight. So the urban adventure, the students come together in small teams. They plan and organise an activity in the city that a lot of the teacher support is backed right off here. And again, it's just a terrific way to show the learning outcomes. Under the personal development strand, under the literacy and numeracy, that's a great one. We have a whole school production. All of our Year 11 and 12s are given lead parts in that. Speaking and listening parts. If speaking and oracy is not their strong point, then they might elect to go into what we call the tech crew. So there they go behind the scenes and they'll do the staging. This year's production, we had 2 boys up in the sound and lighting box, so that took them for 3 terms how to learn to do that, and that became part of their PBS unit. We have, at the end of each year, what we call a showcase. And I think this showcase, if I can give you anything today of how to get your community involved in capturing the learning that's happening for their young people, a showcase is a great way to do it. And then at the end of the year, we have a valedictory celebration, which I gather that a lot of you guys would too. But that also becomes part of their literacy. They have to come up in a room like this with a lectern, with a PowerPoint if their reading is not too strong or their oracy skills. They might use a PowerPoint to help them, but otherwise they would be using oracy in their valedictory speech.